Hi everyone, it's Joel here again, and today what we're looking at is faking depth of field in a photo in Photoshop. There are a number of ways of doing this, and some more professional than others. But as a very basic thing, this is what I would do with my students as they're starting to learn Photoshop, who don't have, professional skills in their skill set. So here I've got a photo of my daughter, and I chose this photo for a number of reasons. Number one, there's plenty of space in the background here, so that when you do blur the background, it's not going to look as fake as it would if she was leaning against the wall, for example. There'd be no way to blur that without it looking fake. The other thing is that the background itself is inconsequential. It's my front yard. It's a bit messy. It's not really necessary to the photo. Unfortunately, this photo, as you can see here, is not the best for photos. It was taken on a cheap phone. What are you going to do? Anyway, we're going to blur the background a bit to fake the depth of field. And the first thing I always like to do with the students is I want to duplicate the background. So I've got the background layer here, and I'm just going to drag the background down to the new layer button, and that creates a copy. And I'm going to click on that name, and I'm going to just call this depth of field. And so that way we're going to have a before and after picture. The background will be the before, and this one we're working on here will be the after. And I'm also going to right-click it and choose here Convert to Smart Object. Now it's a little complicated to explain, even to adults what doing this means. Essentially, it means that whatever effects and filters I put on this layer are non-destructive, which means if I blur this now at 100%, if I hadn't done that smart object thing, then I wouldn't be able to adjust that except for undoing it. Whereas if I do a blur now, I can adjust it later on down the line, and I can adjust it through the settings to whatever value that I want, and I can continue doing that. That can be very, very helpful as you're going through the project. So it's a good habit to have. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I need to do is to select the background. In this particular example, the background's quite busy, so it might be easier to select the foreground and then invert the selection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my quick selection tool here, and make sure it's at the right size. I can use the square brackets on my keyboard to make it bigger or smaller, and that's probably about the right size. And you can see it says a plus in the middle. That will include it in the selection. So I'm going to drag around my subject here, making sure I get all the little bits in the middle as well, because they're easy to miss. The tail here, so she's dressed up as a cat, and the feet, and I forgot her hand, so let's get that in. So anytime now that I just do a little click with my mouse, that will include it as part of the selection. I think that's pretty good. Okay, now obviously we've got some problems with things that have been selected that shouldn't be. So you can do this two ways. You can go up here and you can select the minus button, or you can hold down the Alt key on your keyboard to change the plus into a negative. I generally choose to do that because sometimes as you're working, you might accidentally take off more than you want, and then all you have to do is lift your hand off the key, fix it up. So that's how I prefer to work. So I'm just going to do some little clicks here where the shoulder, and you can see here, I've accidentally taken away too much. So I'm just going to do a little bit more here, and shave a little bit off here. As I said in the blog post, it doesn't really have to be exact for this particular project. In fact, the more exact you are, the more artificial the depth of field will look. Let's just shrink this a bit and try and get in there. In any case, it's a good practice for the kids in doing selections, because it's one of the most important things you'll learn how to do in Photoshop, and it's probably one of the hardest. Let's get here with her hand here, and I know that I've left this bit here between her feet, but because this is looking at a depth of field, in other words, you're looking at an area that's going to be blurred, or in this case not blurred, it would look a bit weird if that was blurred, that little bit, because that's in the same general space as everything else is, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now I've got my selection. You can see the dotted line around my selection. If I did a blur, it would do the exact opposite of what I want to do. It would blur the subject, not the background. So we need to go to Select and choose Inverse. And so now the background is what is selected. So now I'm going to go to the Filter menu. I'm going to go to Blur, and I'm going to go to Gaussian Blur. And here is where you can fiddle around with it. You've got a blur radius here. It says 8.8 right now. That was the last value that I used, and it was actually on this photo, which is a pretty good one. Some kids like to go pretty hardcore like that, which is a completely different kind of effect. I don't know if I'd go that far. Some kids might want to go somewhere in the middle like this. Some kids might only, or some students might only want to just do a slight blur. It really doesn't matter. The more blur you do, the more extreme it looks. In fact, yeah, that doesn't even look like there's a background there at all. So it's really about personal style, I guess, personal preference. I think in my case, just for today, even though I had done it higher, I think I might leave it here at about 4.8. It's obviously blurred, but not too blurred. I'll press OK on that. And I've just noticed, if I go to Edit Undo, I've just noticed this little square here that needs to be not part of the selection. So I'm going to press my Alt key and just make sure. Oh, that's really changed things a lot. I wonder why. Okay, let's do another way. Let's take a marquee. Let's hold down Alt for the minus and just draw a box around there so it is not included in the selection. Okay, let's do that again then. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and 4.8 is what I wanted, yes. And I'll press OK. And there I can see what it looks like. So it's not a dramatic change, but it is blurred. So let's go to my Layers panel again, and let's take this eye off and see the before. So the before, you can see the background's sharper, and now it's just slightly blurred. The subject is still in focus, and that's just brought the subject out and highlighted the subject more, which is what you're doing in portraiture. Okay, now if you want, because I have made this a smart object, there's a couple of things I can do. You can see here I've got the mask, and I could actually go in and edit that mask if I needed to, paint some bits in or paint some bits out, or I could actually double click where it says Gaussian blur and bring back that box. So you couldn't do this if you had made it a smart, if you hadn't made it a smart object. You would just have to undo and start again. So here I could, change things up a bit, which can be very helpful. Okay, so there you go. That is one way, the simple way, the easy way of faking depth of field inside Photoshop. I'll see you guys later.